Everybody? All right, when I start, I'll give you just some players that will be out for the game, some that we're going to hold, and others due to injury, so I'll just give you a rundown of that. So Wagner, Miller, Ertz, Tunstall. And the next crew is Cosme and Coleman, Brown and McLaurin, Mariota, McGee, Jean-Baptiste, and Jonathan Jones. And I know you guys saw earlier today the announcement regarding Terry off of PUP, so that's good news, and that'll begin like the return to play process for him. And really it's similar to like what a lot of those guys that I just spoke about and where they're at on their returns and doing walkthroughs and begin other parts of it. That's the Colemans and Mariotas and McGee's and into that same space. So just into that same trajectory. And so we've got a real process in our return to play that we believe in. We know it works, and we'll hit all those steps as well. So wanted to hit you up on that, and then we can get rolling with the game and everything ready for it.
Has he agreed to work out? Is he going to be working out during this time?
Yeah, that's all part of the PUP of like returning to play.
Told you that he's not going to participate.
Yeah, he's on the same trajectory as everybody else of doing the workouts and making good strides. So that was why the move was made.
Okay, and then how good is it to be at this step where you can get him back out there, get him maybe a few weeks to get ready for the season?
Yeah, it's really important. And so it was nice even during this past week, Coleman and McLaurin and McGee and Jean-Baptiste, like all of them are beginning that process of getting some of the reps in the walkthroughs where it's at a different pace, and we'll just hopefully hit that markers, then we hit the next and we hit the next. But it was good to have the guys included in the stuff, John.
Dan, Cliff talked yesterday about it's hard to assess where the offense is right now because Terry's out along with three other guys that are injured. How do you kind of look at that? How do you kind of assess where this group is knowing that you're missing a lot of guys?
Yeah, that's just part of it. Like sometimes as coaches, we get frustrated, just like the players do on stuff. And so, look, all of us want everybody out there, like Joe's in the same with, Jordan McGee and Jean-Baptiste and that. And, like we love these guys. We know how hard they're working to get back. And, we just want them to, get to that space. But as a coach, you learn to control the things that you can. And we know that ramping up is taking place. So that's good. But in the space where other guys get their opportunities, Ben, I think that's important to recognize also. They've got to go take it, when those ones aren't there. And it is part of it. We know that. And so, but we really want to get these guys all back going and doing our thing. So I get that.
And with the RB room, just you talked about this probably over the last few months, but what was your mindset in terms of like what you were looking for from that group this year, and then what have you seen from that with a bunch of different guys out there?
Yeah, I've seen it as a deep group, number one, Ben, going into it. We think of, guys who are the pass catchers coming out of the backfield, different styles of runs. So we use the term like A-back, B-back, meaning like Austin, where you're out on the edge and getting that and inside style of runs. So it is a deep room of competitors. So we're really looking forward to Monday and seeing some ops for the guys. So it's been pretty cool to see them, working through and the kick return side of things. I think running backs, it's as familiar with that position. It's more similar than it's not. And I think that's a big piece, not only for our running backs, but even around the league as you're looking at it. I think that's one of the things that we'll see that wasn't always the case with returners, with all respect to Brian Mitchell, who did everything. So I think that's we'll see more of that as we're going. Nope, it's all ready to roll. We're just making sure, that he's doing well. We had a good, tough, padded practice yesterday, and we want, that went well. So we wanted to just kind of continue on that trajectory. So it was more me than anybody else.
That Terry, since he wasn't on the field or working with trainers on the side field, what was he? Are you able to share any insight into what day one of this ramp up is for him? Yeah,
yesterday had a big push on some days. So there's some days that you go really, as high as you can. Then other days it's low and even recovery work to go. So, for instance, two other players had high days today and off tomorrow, and then that'll even continue into Monday, into the game. So it's a little bit by day. Nikki, I think, it was 2 or 3 at peak high and then backed off today, and then you go again. So like all these markers we're trying to hit, and you can't go like red line it every day. So you want to make sure, all right, on the days that we're really pushing it, that you really go there, and then the days that you work strength and recovery pieces, then you do that too.
I know he said in the past that he wouldn't be on the field if there wasn't progress in his contract. Does this have any correlation to his contract stalemate?
No, I would say, yeah, from the medical side, contract, like definitely separate. This is about his getting ready to play, which is, like honestly awesome. And, like it's just cool, to see him, getting closer, because now like, okay, steps are getting closer to return to being on the field. So he's worked hard, and just like the other guys have, they want to get back out there with the teammates and doing things. So I get that, but we just have a real process. We're not going to miss the steps and put them out there before guys are ready to do their thing in all the different locations. So that's where we're at.
Hey, Dan, good morning.
Good morning.
With Terry, as far as the timing of him coming off PUP, was that a mutual decision with you guys, the team, and Terry?
Yeah, I think more often you just kind of follow the guidelines of how things are going, and then you're ready for the next step. And so he's really just putting into the same group of, although the other guys started training camp, they got injured, but now they're able to participate in the walkthroughs and that. So that's also part of the return to play of getting back with the guys, where you can do that. Like the PUP is really focused on rehab. And then once you're leaving that, think of it like, all right, I'm shifting the focus from rehab into returning to play. And I think if you could differentiate those, like for you and for the readers, that helps. Like, okay, there's a shift that's beginning to take place. Doesn't mean you're back practicing and doing all that just yet, but it does mean like, steps are going forward.
And the path he's on now, does that put him on pace if he continues to hit check marks to play week 1 against the Giants?
Yeah, there's markers to hit, but it gives you a runway to be able to do that. And if you can continue to hit, the D-cells, the different ones for him, and all of those guys are in the same boat right now. And there'll be more, into Monday and Tuesday, and then a few days after that. So you just kind of, if you can reach that one, and I go for the next one, and I go for the next one. But if you don't go to this third one if you ain't hit number 2 yet.
Real quick, what do you expect for a workload for Jaden on Monday night? Yeah,
for he and a lot of the guys that are going to get some of their first playing time, I would say it's a little bit customized, but we'd like to see a few series, and we're excited to see the guys. They're excited to get performing too. So we customized it a little bit, and as a staff, we'll visit some tonight and tomorrow. But we're also excited to get the guys going on. It's not going to be super long, so I wouldn't do an extended popcorn break or something, but I'd be ready to be involved with it for sure.
Hey, good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of your safeties, and you've spoken about the group in depth. I'll just ask you both questions at once.
Sure.
Quan Martin and Will Harris, just what you think of each of them, obviously, and what you've seen so far through this point in camp.
Yeah. 2 of the players, and I'll get back to Will for a second, but 2 of the players that I pointed out in yesterday's team meeting was Quan and Jeremy. I just felt like, David, they have just been so consistently hitting their stride at a good level. Will has brought a very good dimension for us in covering, in playing man-to-man. I love seeing the battles with him and Zach. There's leverage and working. They really, really challenge one another. So I've grown to really appreciate the different skills that Will brings and how can we feature him. And it's kind of the fun part as a coach of going through the camp. Like in the OTAs, you just get a little glimpse, honestly, but it's not as physical. But to see the competitor and the roles we can put him in, I've been pleased. But our safety group is one of our spots that we're really proud of because of the work they put in. They have excellent standards. As a group, that's one of the spots, man. I love the way they work and the way they compete. Will and Jeremy and T.O. and Quant, like a number of them. We just added one this week in D-Whirl, and so we're excited to see him, get into the game and to see where he's at as he's getting back into things. So it's a good, strong, tough group, and I think safeties are more maneuverable, at this point in our game anyway. How do you match up on this tight end or this back? These have to be deluxe athletes that can do different things, excellent tacklers. So we're very fortunate. We put a lot of time and effort into that group, and I love where they're at collectively.
Speaking of groups, Coach, the defensive line, what are your thoughts there? And then I'm specifically looking for your thoughts as well on Javon Kinlaw.
Yes. He's had it. I'm going to start backwards if that's okay. I've been so impressed by Kinlaw in this camp. kind of referring to Will Harris. You saw this glimpse in the spring, but honestly, you're seeing more drill work than anything. You're not padded, and you saw how hard he worked to get his body in great shape. I love that he's stacking days and being very, very intentional, Candy, about the work that he's wanting to do. And I want to get better at that, and I want to get better at that. When you see this evidence of power and strength and effort. So I love the pocket that he's in, and he's really worked in. Defensive line-wise, we got a deep crew, and there's a lot of evaluations to go, especially in the interior. I'm excited from what I've seen from Eddie. I want to see more. I'm excited for Carl. I want to see more on these interior players. So it's been good to add guys to the mix, but Kinlaw, much like Harris, it's been impressive. It's been impressive to be on this group and finding their roles, when you're on to a new one. Think of, when you're coming onto this new spot, you got to find your space and do your thing, and they've done that.
Coach, in regard to Terry's emotional impact, spoke with Tyler Biotish as he was coming off of the field and asked him about Terry being activated from the PUP list. His face really lit up. Do you have a sense of what it will mean emotionally to the team once Terry is able to be back practicing with them?
Yeah, that's a great question, honestly, for Terry. As a teammate, they love him. So that's a big deal to when the guys get back together. But they love him. They love Brandon and Marcus and, all these guys. This is a really tight and connected team, and Terry is very much, right in the middle of that as well. So, we're taking good steps for sure. All right. We'll have to hold it for next one. Oh, I knew it. You shouldn't have said I knew it. It would be hard at that spot based on where we're, how quick the turnaround is, Nikki, from Monday to Saturday. Let's get back playing, and then we'll have a better sense for that. So I wouldn't rule anything out, but I think that'd probably be a little quicker than we should. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. See you Monday night.